Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and welcome back to the Labyrinth. Because it is the 70th episode of Dixie's Tales from the Labyrinth, my goodness, it is the 70th episode of Dixie's Tales from the Labyrinth. What I like to do every 5 episodes is do a special reading of sorts, and this one I think is kind of special in a way. A for starters, if this is your first time, normally I read poetry for myself and from other prolific poets. But This time around, I'm gonna read another short story. I tend to do this one's half like short story, half kind of poem, and either way, we also analyze it as well while we're here. And this one is one I read back in high school, so we analyzed it in high school. We'll see if the interpretation or my feelings towards it have changed since then. Because for me, high school was a little while ago. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah. So this is My Last Duchess, and this is by Robert Browning. That's my last Duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece of wonder now. Frau Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Wilt please you sit and look at her? I said, Frau Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance. But to myself they turned, since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you, but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. So, not the first, are you to turn and ask thus, Sir, 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess's cheek. Perhaps Frau Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle laps over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked where she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Sir, 'twas all one, my favour at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherries some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush, at least. She thanked men, good, but thanked, somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name with anybody's gift, I should say, my apologies, who'd stoop to blame this sort of trifling, even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such a one, and say just this or that, and you disgusts me. Here you miss, or there exceeded the mark, or there exceed the mark. And if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours, forsooth, and made excuse, e'en then would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whene'er I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew, I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together. There she stands, as if alive. Will't please you rise? We'll meet the company below then. I repeat, the Count your master's known munificence is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed, at starting, is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though, taming a seahorse, the thought a rarity, which Klaus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. So a few things to pick up on. For starters, you might have noticed way certain words were written. I was just like this writing back then. Certain words, the way they were written back then. So I did kind of struggle a little bit, unfortunately, with some of those words, or some of the word, or it's almost, I don't necessarily want to say incomplete, but just written a bit weird. But also, oh, also the theme throughout. So seeing how it starts off with the Duchess, it starts off with the painting of the Duchess. It's almost like he's reminiscing about good stuff, but then as it escalates, it's then we see him kind of talk more negatively about her, saying she smiled the same to everyone, and how he really felt almost common in a way, if that makes any sense, to where she didn't really set him aside. She didn't have like a special smile for him, or almost in a way he felt he wasn't being treated differently, higher than the other people she smiled at and how he felt his gift, which is his last name, essentially, because that was his wife, obviously. How 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 that gift, which he thought was a major gift, but at how she essentially he kind of lumped it in with a lot of other people's gifts. It didn't really mean a lot to her, and him talking about that, and you can see his frustration starting to grow to the point where he say has all smiles stopped, meaning has her killed, or at least it's implied that he has her killed. Well, and then going on to continue talking about how he's going to marry a new girl that's brought in, and a new Duchess, essentially. So when it says My Last Duchess, not meaning his final Duchess ever, but the last Duchess before this one. Apparently, if I'm not mistaken, this is based off of a real person, if I'm not mistaken. And if I do a quick search here, but seeing the shift in tone, and I think that's one of the main reasons to analyze it. So, oh yeah, so this is according to Spark Notes in its summary. This poem is loosely based on historical events involving Alfonso, the Duke of Ferrara, who lived in the 16th century. The Duke is the speaker of the poem and tells us he is entertaining an emissary who has come to negotiate the Duke's marriage. He has recently been widowed to the daughter of another powerful family. And you're able to see that him talking about what happened with his last Duchess and how that didn't really end well. Oh, and then talking about how he's going to marry this new Duchess. Some things to pick up on in this story is the shift in tone, how it's going from talking about how good this Duchess is, how beautiful this painting is, and how beautiful the Duchess is, to talking bad about her, like, oh, she did all these things, and now, oh, I'm gonna marry this other girl. She's gonna be my new wife and everything, and kind of set her aside, set the other Duchess aside, the last Duchess, the one that was killed. We're gonna set her aside. Don't worry about her anymore. I got this new wife now. Picking up on those themes, on that theme, I should say, throughout his poem, and it's interesting to see the shift in tone, and considering this is based off of that person, based off the Duke, then this might have been something that actually happened, and I'm sure, or possibly somewhat exaggerated, but also based off something that happened. And so seeing the Duchess talk about, or not seeing the Duchess, seeing the Duke talk about his Duchess, and then unfortunately seeing how that panned out, that shift, and that's something that happens in a lot of stories. Of course, the tone shifts. It may go from a lighter tone to a darker tone, may go from a darker tone to a lighter tone. So seeing the way the tone shifts, talking good, saying all these good things about this Duchess, and how Fra Pandolf did a really good job, now to talking bad about the Duchess herself, and how he feels. You get the narrator's point of view, how he feels frustrated, and feels frustrated that she didn't really consider him all that special. Like, I guess is a way to put it, how he's not considered that special, how he's marrying her and giving her his last name, but she kind of treats him just like everybody else. And that's the themes that we kind of explored and analyzed, if I remember correctly, when I read this in class. Now, whether you agree or disagree with the Duchess's stance here and his reasoning for doing what he did, he essentially sets up the Duchess is because as him and whoever he's talking to, who or the purveyor, I should say, uh, the person he's talking to, who noticed the painting. So he talks about the painting and then walks through what happened to her, and kind of he does the justification for what he did, and then he goes on to explain what he did. So he explains what was happening, everything leading up to the action, and then explains the action. So yeah, the action and the justification. Like I said, whether you agree with it or disagree with what the dude did, it is up to interpretation, obviously. But he provides it's what happened, the justification for what happened as well. So talking to this person, and we see how the Duke is characterized there. We see how he feels about what happened, and we kind of get to explore him as a character. And the tone shift does a good job doing that as well. And also that's another tool when it comes to tone shift, to help further characterize someone, on especially as that person is bringing about the tone shift. But nevertheless, going back to revisit that short story, it was an interesting one, and I'm glad I was able to do it so we can explore the themes together, and so you're able to see. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the short story and my analysis. Did you dislike the story? Did you dislike my analysis? Let me know. And also, if you have any short story or poetry that you want me to check out, any poem recommendations, any short story recommendations for when I do special episodes like this, let me know, and I'd love to take a look at it. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.